last year, there was this little Substack article by journalist Seymour Hersh. Remember Seymour? And this article got a lot of attention. Remember that? How America took out the Nord Stream pipeline. This was published by Seymour Hersh, February 8th, 2023. The New York Times called it a mystery, but the United States executed a covert sea operation that was kept secret until now. Remember? Okay. Get this. All of a sudden, something really weird happened. And I couldn't believe this. I had to double check this twice. Because yesterday, I saw a headline that said Germany is issuing an arrest for the Nord Stream pipeline bombing. Look at this. I could not make this up. This is wild. Germany issues arrest warrant for diver over Nord Stream blast, say reports. By the way, multiple outlets have reported this. I didn't believe it at first. When I saw that, I didn't believe it at first. Now listen, here's the funny part. German authorities have issued an arrest warrant for a Ukrainian man on suspicion of being part of a team that blew up the Nord Stream gas pipeline in the Baltic Sea, according to local media reports. A Ukrainian man. Now remember what Seymour Hersh said, right? He said Biden did it. He said the U.S. did it. Remember, there were multiple times where Jose Vega confronted journalists and asked them, like, how come you're not talking about who blew up this pipeline? Everybody remember this now? We're going back. Okay. So now Germany is claiming, oh, it was a Ukrainian man, a diver. Let's continue. The man, a diving instructor, identified only as Voldemort Z. Voldemort Z is last believed to have lived in Poland and is alleged to have dived 80 meters to the seabed at night to plant explosive devices on pipelines, which ran from Russia to Germany in September of 2022. Voldemort Z. Now, Voldemort Z that I know of is Zelensky. And I'm supposed to believe that one diving instructor went all the way down to the seabed. I was trying not to look at the comments. Dwayne said a lone nut diver. Exactly. I don't even know what to say, but I'm supposed to believe this lone diver did this, right? Okay, let's go on. He goes on to say the explosive devices detonated on September 26, 7 months after the start of the full-blown Russian invasion of Ukraine. 4 large gas leaks were discovered on both the Nord Stream pipelines close to the Danish island of Bornholm, putting the pipelines out of use. Seismic institutes had registered 2 underwater, oh my God, I'm starting to lose my R's again. I've been in around Boston too long. God damn. Let's try this again. Registered 2 underwater explosions on the pipelines, which had been built between 2010 and 2012 to transport Russian gas to Germany. And at the time of the explosion, they were not in operation, but contained gas. So let's just flash back to this, folks, so you can remember where that pipeline was. So again, starting all the way up here from Russia, goes all the way down to Germany. And you can see the unusual seismic activity on September 26th and 27th right there. The red dot there. And you'll see Nord Stream 1 is the light blue line and Nord Stream 2 is the dark blue line there. So again, at that point in time, don't forget the U.S. government blamed Russia for this. And at some point, I had to just scratch my head and say, let me get this straight, folks. I'm supposed to believe, because the stories were ridiculous. So I'm supposed to believe that Russia blew up their own bridge, their own pipeline that they were using to transport gas. I'm supposed to believe that Russia blew up their own pipeline. And that's when I started scratching my head, and I started digging out for more information, bringing people on to talk about this issue with Russia and Ukraine. And then that article came from Seymour Hersh. And that put the nail in the coffin. I know TMB, Sabby, Parker, Kaba. I know it happens every now and then. I'm like, what is happening to me? I'm losing my R's. But that's just a reminder of that there. Now, according to reports, goes on to say Germany first asked Poland to arrest the man in June, but he is thought to have gone underground. The German Prosecutor's General's Office, which has been investigating the case even after Denmark and Sweden dropped their respective inquiries, has declined to comment. Of course they did. Polish authorities confirmed on Wednesday that a European warrant for his arrest had been received. The National Public Prosecutor Office said in an email to the news agency AFP, ultimately, Waldemar Z was not detained as he left the territory of Poland at the beginning of July this year, crossing the Polish-Ukrainian border. The media outlets also identified another man and woman who were also Ukrainian diving instructors as having allegedly been involved in the attack, though no further arrest warrants have been issued for them. So they're also saying another man and another woman. But again, I'm sorry. Let's think about this for a second. Again, I go back to Seymour Hersh's article, how America took out the Nord Stream pipeline. I just find it hard to believe that these random divers went down. And then the guy's name got to be Waldemar Z, right? So here's what I think is happening, folks. I think the U.S. government is trying to pin this on someone else to wipe Joe Biden's hands clean. That's what I think. This was a very detailed article. If you guys haven't had a chance to read it, please read it, because it's a long article, but it explains a lot. But I just don't buy this. I think that they're trying to find a way to wipe Joe Biden's hands clean. That being said, I never expected this news to come out. I never thought they were going to try to arrest anybody in reference to the bombing. And I'm still waiting for corporate media to issue an apology or a retraction for blaming Russia for doing this. And it goes on more here. And it says earlier on, the investigation focused on a sailing yacht called Andromeda, on which traces of the explosive HMX, also known as Octagon, were found in July 2023. The boat was rented in Germany by someone using a Google account registered in Ukraine. The crew members reportedly used false identities, including a Romanian and Bulgarian passport, and that of a Ukrainian soldier who denies involvement and whose identity is believed to have been stolen. Guys, is this a movie? This sounds like a movie, yes? It doesn't sound real. I'm sorry. It doesn't sound real. The yacht, a 50-foot Bavaria cruiser, started out in Rostock Harbor and stopped off on the German island of Rügen, the islands of Bornholm, and in Denmark. And it was followed by Sandhamn in Sweden and Kolersberg, in Poland, before returning to Rostock. So again, I'm highlighting this here. Waldemar Z was identified after the white Ukrainian registered Citroën. He was driving on Rügen, and I know I'm mispronouncing these names. I'm sorry. He was driving on Rügen, was caught speeding by a police camera, which captured the image of his face on September 8th of 2022. Despite evidence that Waldemar Z may have had the backing of high-ranking military officials, there is no suggestion that the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was aware of the attack or that it was state sanctioned. Trying to fix my bangs, sorry. Russia and the West have blamed one another for being behind the destruction of the pipelines, which stood as an ugly reminder of many of German dependence on Russian gas. So far, everyone accused denies involvement. Now, don't you guys just find this to be a little weird? I'm more likely to believe Seymour Hersh's article. And don't forget, guys, remember the gray zone? They actually went out there to sea and they pulled up that boot, that Navy diving boot. Remember that? Again, I think they're just trying to find a way to make Biden's hands clean. But I did not have Germany issuing an arrest warrant for the Nord Stream pipeline bombing. Didn't have that on my bingo card this week. Not at all.